I was stayed here in Jersey for most of the summer, so I was with my trainers and the staff and people have been with me throughout all of this. So I felt that was, the best thing for me, just to have them be able to work with me every day and know what my deficiencies are and know what I need to get better at. So, I think physically conditioning, just I just feel in the best shape I've been in a long time. So that's encouraging. Skate testing today went great. I feel, like I said, a lot better this year than I did last year. So. Again, that's just one component of it, though. I think when your body feels good, you're excited to do things and go in the gym and get on the ice, and that can make a big difference. But now at the end of the day, like that work is behind me, and I gotta keep working to maintain it and feel the way I do. But now the grind begins of getting into it on the ice and having good practices and carrying that over into the games and just basically executing, just stopping the puck and having fun. And so I'm hoping that, without having to think too much about the other stuff, that, I can just go enjoy the game and do what I love doing and play as best I can.
Ray talked yesterday a little bit about how he put you in touch with Cory Schneider, who went through a similar situation with his surgery, and for you to sort of reach out to him. What did you talk to him about, if at all? What was that discussion like, talking to Pekka?
Yeah, it's funny. The goalie fraternity is pretty small. You watch these guys play all the time, and even if you don't know guys personally, you feel like you know them and their style. And that was great of Ray to do. And it wasn't just Pekka. Roberto Luongo went through this a couple years ago. Eddie Lack had his done before this more recent one. So I talked to Eddie and Roberto as well, and Pekka. And the theme I got from all of them was it just takes more time than you realize sometimes. Like, you're cleared at 5 or 6 months, but I think Roberto told me it took him a whole year to feel the same. I mean, I know he was closer to 40, but even Eddie, Eddie said that, there'll be a day or a month where all of a sudden things just get a lot better and it feels way, way more normal. And I think, again, not that I was cleared too early or anything. We followed the protocol and I was physically able to go and I felt ready to go, but it probably was around the 9-month mark or, maybe towards the end of last year where I really stopped noticing as much and it felt just more normal. And I think all the work I did this summer, it feels great. It's night and day compared to, prior to the surgery, obviously. So again, hopefully it's something that if I maintain and keep the work up, that it's won't be an issue going forward ever again.
Talking to Mackenzie yesterday, he's in a new kind of position in his career where he's coming into the camp as a goalie that's being chased, and he said that he talked to you a little bit over the summer about technical things and stuff. What's that relationship like between the two of you now that you've had a couple months where you guys were the 1 and 2 tandem?
Yeah, it's been great. I always had a good relationship with Keith when he was here. Different personality than Mackenzie, but different circumstances at times. But we always had a good relationship, and Mackenzie's no different. Like I said, he's a different person with a different personality, so you sort of have to adjust. But he's an excited kid. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of talent. And we have a very open dialogue. I think we talk to each other, we bounce things off each other, and I think that's great. And for him, it's good and bad. It's great. He played so well last year when he came up, and I think obviously he set the bar pretty high. But people, I think, have to understand that it's still early in his career, early in his development, and a lot of goalies take time to smooth out the bumps. And obviously you hope the good and great outweighs any of the bad. But I think it's a challenge as a young guy to understand that things aren't going to go well every single time out, and for him to just rely on his instincts and his abilities and just soak things up and learn as he goes. So again, we're hoping that together we can be a strong point of this team. Obviously, I think we're probably the biggest question mark as far as this team goes, or at least that's what everyone's saying. And it's not unfair to say that, but I think last year down the stretch we felt really good about both of our games, and that if we can push each other internally and compete, and we both want the net, we both want to play, but I think we have a good dynamic where if one guy's playing well, that the other guy's there to help and support, but that we're not satisfied not playing. So I think it'll be a healthy, like I said, competitive relationship between us. And for me, it's about helping him navigate this stretch of his career, because it is a challenging time where you maybe feel a little more pressure, you feel more responsibility, or you tend to overthink things. So I think for him, sometimes thinking will be less, and just like I said, just do what you've been training to do.
You saw Ray had talent across the lineup all summer, but he kept you and Mackenzie the same for the most part. What does that say about his trust in you two guys being the two to turn to this year, and the faith they're putting in you two to get the job done?
Yeah, it's exciting. That's the word that comes to my mind. want to have that opportunity to take the net. And there were times last year where Keith or Mackenzie took the net, and then there were times where I felt that I could have taken the net down the stretch. And I think they liked that dynamic that we had, and they liked the way we played. And I think it's hopefully or most likely more representative of how I feel I can play when I'm feeling right with everything. So again, it's a vote of confidence for us, which is great, but that's not to say that we're satisfied or we're content just coming in and that this is the status quo. We understand, we saw the moves that we made throughout the rest of the lineup. So I think Mackenzie and I understand that we're no different, that if we don't do our jobs well enough, that Ray won't be afraid to try something else. So there's a little bit of urgency there for us to just have a good start and like I said, be a strong point of this team, be the guys that they can rely on and allows our team to play its game, and they're not worried about who's in net on any given night. So like I said, it's great that they have faith in us, but we have to reward them for having that faith by doing our jobs as best we can.
Cory, what was going so well for you at the end of last season? From the All-Star break on, your game really started to, maybe you were playing the way you felt as though you could play.
Yeah.
Was that just a matter of just getting comfortable, getting that comfort back, and just, after the surgery, that type of thing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, the physical stuff is what it is. It's everyone deals with stuff at times, and sometimes you have to work through it or find a way to bring your A game if you don't feel your best. But obviously, there's a mental component to it too, where if you have to have confidence, you have to play with confidence, and I just felt much more confident in the net in the second half. Confident in my body and in my abilities, and just sticking with it and just trying to continue to work and get to that level. So, it just took time, I think, to get there. But once I got there, I felt really good about things. And I think like you said, it can kind of the momentum and you get one win, you get another win, you just feel better about things, and that can make a big difference. So, like I said, it's just about being, for me, in the right mindset. And I felt that way all summer. I've just been eager to, excited to get in the gym, excited to work out, excited to skate. I think that's a good feeling to have right now, relative to where I've been the last couple summers, and it makes me just more eager to get out there and continue what I built last year. But I don't know if I'm a believer in carrying momentum from one season to another. It's a long time, but I think you can carry a certain mind frame and a certain perspective as to what you want to accomplish, and that's what I'm trying to apply this year. And like I said, just be as ready as I can in training camp and start the year as best I can.
What were some of those deficiencies you said that you and your trainers sort of identified over the summer?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get into that hip, groin, abdominal area, there's a lot going on down there, and certain things can cause problems in other areas. So for me, I think when you're young, you're just strong and you can just lift weights or do things, and you don't really put a lot of thought into the smaller aspects of it. And so for me, it was kind of not a back to basics. It was pretty intricate stuff, but smaller muscle groups in your core area. One-legged stuff, balancing, getting to more extreme positions and building strength in those positions, so that when you do it in a game, it's not going to injure yourself. And so yeah, like I said, a lot of it was isolating, the glutes and hips and lower abdominal area, just to make that your base and not put too much stress on it, and strengthen that. So like I said, when you're in the gym, it's not about throwing as much weight around as you can. Obviously, there's been a lot written about how training has really changed in the last decade or so, but for me, it was the first time I'd really been exposed to it at this intensity for this long. So I'm hoping that I've built a strong base and a stronger base that I can work off as I get later in my career.
So how has your training changed? What are you doing to sort of isolate those smaller exercises that you weren't doing in previous years?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's been, I've gotten a lot of help from, my strength coaches and rehab guys, but, like I said, it's being more explosive out of more awkward positions, putting yourself into more realistic, goaltending positions and coming out of those as quickly as you can. It's about, warming up the right way and activating the right muscles all the time and getting into a good routine where, it seems like, kind of, like I said, monotonous, boring things, but at this stage of my career, it's something that I need to stay with and continue to do. So again, we're not as focused on heavy squats and bench press and things like that. It's not something I really need, but it's, like I said, it's more just a lot of single leg balancing, strengthening the ankles and knees and hips, and just creating that base so when I'm in more vulnerable positions on the ice, I have more strength to either push off of it or not get injured.
So it's like more mobility exercises?
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of like putting yourself into more awkward positions and getting stronger in those positions.
Have the improvements of this team kind of motivated you? You're really looking forward to seeing what this team can put together?
Yeah, again, I think there's definitely an excitement around the room. I think everyone's eager to get back and come together as a group. And I think that's the step that we can't forget about. I mean, it's great to add talent, but a lot of talented teams have fallen short or not done what people expected them to do. So I think for us, we need to use this time here in camp to, really form that bond. And we talk about the brotherhood and bringing, the new guys into the fold in that sense and getting to understand each other and know each other. And that, it really looks good on paper in September. But come October, that we've put the work in and we formed the relationships with each other that it'll result, the results will come the way we think they will with, like I said, the ability we have now. So I think we just can't take that all for granted, and this will be a good opportunity here starting tomorrow to begin that process.
What's an ideal preseason work like for you in terms of getting into?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I've talked to Coach a little bit about it. Obviously, Rolly has some say, just if they want to get looks at some of the younger guys and get them some experience. But, we have a pretty heavy schedule in terms of volume in a short amount of time. And for me, I think, like I said, I'm just eager to play. So if it's 2 games or 3 games or 4 games, for me, more is better. We have a pretty light schedule in October. We have a little layoff there. So, like I said, obviously Mackenzie needs to get his work, and depending on what they want for the younger guys, that'll come into it. But I would love to play as much as I can just to get that feeling and get back into it.